We can hear you, but it's not great.
Okay.
And we're ready.
Okay, great. All right, roll call. We have Nick Azzolini,
Here.
Rick Dybel,
Yeah.
Tim Kiernan,
Present.
Darlene Reagan,
Here.
Parker Steele.
Here.
Chris Eldridge is not here so far, and Dick Vale's here. Please note that Vinny and Jordan are here, and I guess is Cade Boisrank, is he on? Okay.
Yes, Kate's on.
I'm here to support it all. If
Oh,
Dina
good.
can let
Thanks, Kate.
me know, and she'll text me.
Great. Okay, first order of the business is the approval of minutes. I have a change. Does anybody else have any changes to the minutes? Okay, Miley, on page 3 of the minutes, items from committee members, we reestablished subcommittees, and Parker Steele was on the Greens Committee. It's supposed to be me. He's on the House Committee.
That's a good catch. I didn't see that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, approval of minutes. So I need a motion to approve the minutes as
Make a
amended.
motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
Second.
Second. Yeah, Darlin.
who seconded?
I did, Darlene.
Darlene, okay. All those in favor of accepting the minutes
Aye.
as amended?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, passed.
I have to abstain.
I
Who's
was out.
abstain- Yeah, you
I
have
had
to
to
abstain.
abstain.
Both Tim and Nick have to abstain because you weren't here. Okay. Next item on the agenda is public input. Do we have any public input, Miley?
I don't have any public input. I do have one comment for item 3A.
Okay. All right, let's go right to old business then. Review of the golf course operating resolution. Why don't you give us if somebody send a letter or something to you about this or an email? Yeah,
Yes,
Why
I
don't you
did
get
receive
that
a
now?
comment.
yeah,
Okay. The comment is from Mary Ann McCauley. I am the president of the Women's 18T League. Both the 18Ts and the 9T groups are growing and hope the city joins us in encouraging the growth of the women's golf leagues. We frequently have too many members to accommodate the limited 2-hour tee time allotted to both groups on Tuesday mornings. We would appreciate expanded tee times when necessary so that all of our paying members will have an opportunity to play on Tuesday. Both clubs are facing waiting lists each Tuesday.
So what's happening with the men? I'm just curious, when they go out to play the men's club, do they have the same problem that the women are having?
We have a shortage of tee times.
Right, but do you have additional days? Do you have longer times? I'm just curious.
Well, we need more slots, but I understand there's a logistics problem with the golf carts. So until
But what do the men have today? How many? They have one day, same amount of hours as the women have.
no, we have Wednesday, the first Wednesday. What do we have, Vinny? 80 slots?
You have 3 days a month at 80 players, and the ladies have once a week at about 56 players.
So once a week versus 3 days a month?
Yes.
correct.
Why are we doing that? Why are we treating the two groups differently? Why don't the men's get more time?
It's always been this way before I was even here. So the ladies get once a week, and the men do 3 times a month.
The women play from 8 to 9 and 9 to 10 on every Tuesday morning. The men's club has tournaments, one Wednesday, one Friday, one Saturday every month. And that's the way it is.
Oh, it's because you have Friday and Saturday is the reason.
The men's club does not play every Wednesday or every Friday or every month, Monday, whatever. It's just tournaments. Yep. Okay. Any other comment on that? Okay, so let's get to the review of the golf course operating resolution. Samantha, you want to take us through this?
Yeah, you bet.
We have basically approved everything. Just to give you a recap, at our November the 5th meeting, we went through this. Some of you weren't here. Tim, I don't think, and Nick were not here. At that time, we went through item by item. I'd rather not do that again unless we have to. I just want to pick out certain items. But if you want to, I'll be glad to go through it all again. I just don't think there's any need to, because we approved basically almost everything from where the rakes go and the traps to everything. The problem that I had was that when we approved all that, it went to staff, presented to the city council for the December 15th meeting, a proposal, and in that proposal, the nonprofits were kept out of it. And the other thing was changed was the golf reservation policy. So, and I objected to that, and I sent emails to the city council recommending that they take up the Dave's contract and approve that, take up the fee increases and approve those. But the golf course resolution is changed from what we agreed to. So I would like to review that again, and the city council acquiesced and did that. So we're back again with the golf resolution 21 blank. Now let me at this time tell you what the staff presented to the city council on December the 15th. The golf reservation policy, section 1. Reservations for golf will be accepted 1 week in advance, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Sunday by online reservation only. Monday for Monday, Tuesday for Tuesday, tee time increments will be established by the city manager or his designee to allow maximum play and optimal playing conditions. Secondly, residents who have purchased a resident card can book 8 days in advance. And it says tee reservations will be accepted via online tee bookings on a first come, first served basis. And it goes on to say it's prohibited to use any computer program, bot, offline reader, site search retrieval application to book tee times. So I noticed that the new one, if you all look at the resolution 21 blank, the new one, attachment 2. Isn't that correct, Samantha? Is this the new one you want to talk about?
Two, I thought it was 3.
I'm sorry?
I thought it was 3.
Is it page?
So let me clarify for you guys. There's 3 different attachments. Attachment 1 is the old resolution dating back several years. That's dating back from 2015. Attachment 2 is a version of the new resolution that tracks changes. Anything that's underlined is new verbiage altered from the attachment 1 2015 version. And then attachment 3 is a clean version of attachment 2. So there's no markings on it. I wanted to make sure the committee was clear on what was different versus the old one. So you can refer between attachment 2 and 3. They are the same. One has track changes, one does not. That clarifies it.
So 3 is a done deal.
Correct. If the committee
That's how it
decides
stands
this
now.
looks good, we can focus on attachment 3, and that's what we'll move forward to the city council.
There is a difference is attachment 2 has some things lined out which aren't on attachment 3.
Right, because again, the attachment 3 is a clean version. It's unmarked. That would be the version that's going to go to city council if the committee approves of the changes reflected in attachment 2.
Okay, so my first comment, Samantha, is the on attachment 2 or attachment 3, whatever you want to look at, section 1 golf reservation policy. So the computer online only has been taken out. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So will we have an opportunity? I mean, all this was set up for COVID. I mean, the whole thing was set up for COVID. Is that correct from the beginning?
Yes.
So post-COVID, will we look at the opportunity again of going back to a reservation system, which is what it was, 2 open tee times an hour, being in the golf course, calling in. They take one person there, one phone call, one person, one phone call. Residents get 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes. Would we be able to do that? Under the one that was presented to the city council, we would not be able to do that, go back to the old way. But this one, we would be able to go back to the old way. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I think that's something the committee could come back and address once we're ready to shift back into a more normal operation. I do think there's still a desire to focus reservations online. I understand that the old system worked for many people. We have a lot of new golfers, new residents that have joined the golf course. So I want to be mindful of that. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and commit one way or the other. But as it stands today, this resolution will give us the opportunity to work somewhere between what existed before and what exists today, and we can find kind of that middle ground.
Okay. Does anybody have any comment about any of this?
So just to clarify what I'm looking at, then the only thing we're striking is the fact that it must be done online. Is that correct? So we're just leaving
Correct.
that method of booking a tee time open for what may come down the road.
Yes.
But when we
Okay.
talked about it, when we were in committee, we said we're going to write this for today and then make changes as we needed to.
Darling, we're having a hard time hearing you as well.
Okay, I can call in, I guess.
That's better, darling.
Had to sit closer.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, so going through this, has everybody had a chance to go through it? I assume you have. Has anybody got any questions or, comments they want to make on any of these issues besides the golf reservation policy that I made?
Dick, if I may just comment quickly on the nonprofit component, I do want to speak to that and make sure the committee's aware.
Sure.
It's staff's intention or my intention to meet one-on-one or with the group of each of the nonprofits and strike separate agreements as it states in the staff report. And all of those agreements would come back to the golf committee to review. Very similar to the sports partnerships that we have with Little League or Pure Pride or the Friends Foundation. They all have separate agreements that give certain liberties to each of those groups. And I think all of our nonprofits, whether it's the men's club or the women's club or FAM or any of those groups, it's important that they have things that are in writing that really dictate and spell out what is given to them as a nonprofit group. And the goal is so that that document can live through time with that organization, whether or not there's changes in staff or changes in committee members or council members. That's a black and white document that says this is what these groups get at the golf course, and this is what they give back to the city. That's the goal. My hope is to connect with each of those groups over the next quarter, and I'd like to start bringing those agreements back to the committee at our next meeting. There's a handful of them. I'm confident that we can get through it quickly. Like I mentioned, we've started doing this with all of our other nonprofits in town, and I think it's really a valuable tool for everybody. The high school, if I can speak to that as well, that is pulled out of the operating resolution. It is our intention to strike a joint use agreement with the high school. On the outside of golf, the high school is a regular user of all of our facilities, whether that's the pool or the fields or whatever it may be. And they get a lot of discounted rates, if not free at times. So the goal there, again, is to strike a separate agreement that's not included in the golf course operating resolution because it just doesn't fit there, but it does fit in the separate agreement. So what I think the goal is today, However anybody's operating, they'll continue to operate in such a manner until we can strike a separate agreement. And Vinny's aware of that, and he's got all of the working set out for each of those specific groups.
Yeah, just so you know, and I talked to Samantha and Eric, Sun, the city manager, about this. I was concerned because the Boys and Girls Club, the FAM, and the Beaches and Parks Foundation were all not mentioned anymore. So what's going to happen is, as Samantha said, they're going to be separate agreements. Well, the agreements are going to be not just about the FAM golf tournament or the Boys and Girls Club golf tournament the first Friday in June, where we shotgun and we give a waiver of fees. It's more than that. The Boys and Girls Club, for instance, rents their building, their land for $1 a year. I don't know if you knew that or not, but FAM has a Thanksgiving dinner every year at the community center. They give us the community center to host 800 to 1,000 people. So all those things are going to be encompassed in the new separate agreements, and that'll include the golf. And so it is protected, and I'm fine with it, just so you know. And so is everybody else, from the Boys and Girls Club to the Beaches and Parks Foundation. Okay. So if there's no more comments, I'd like a motion to approve the resolution. It's 21 dash something. Is it going to be a new number or something? What's it going to be?
Yeah, the clerk's office fills that in after council adoption.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So I need a motion to approve this resolution, operating resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve it as written.
Can we take a look at it first for a second? I mean, because
So,
now.
I need a second, then we'll discuss it further. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Rick seconds it. Okay, discussion.
Yeah, I just want a minute to read it, now that you've given some context to it. So that's all been. So maybe I wasn't understanding, but the last one that I'm looking at is 21 dash with nothing, and that does have marks in it. So that is the pre-work. Where is the final copy then?
That's attachment 3.
Darlene, you basically have three copies of the same thing.
Yep, got it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to say it starts on page 28 of that PDF if you've got that.
Section 5 is what you're talking about, though, with naming the people and that they were all removed from in that section. And then the tournaments. So I do have one question that is, maybe offline, but are you doing actual written agreements, or are you doing like memorandum of understandings with those groups so that when people's name change, that the understanding is still there, unless that new person wants to come in and change something different? And I know there's some legal basis for doing one or the other. And so you might even want to check with council to see which is best for you to do.
Yeah, and that's a great point. We do have both partnership agreements and we do have MOUs with different nonprofits in town. So that my intention is to work with each organization individually, understand what the best fit is, and we'll fine tune it from there.
Great. Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me read through.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, passes. Thank you. Okay. Next is the new business. Review future golf course improvement projects. Fiscal year 21-22.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you one time because it sounds like the women's question that was earlier is linked to this. Are we going to make any changes to that? Are we going to talk about it at a next meeting, or when are we going to talk about the question of more time for the women, or maybe making it equal time based on what the men get?
The men have 750 members. Women have what, 100? 100?
100.
So there's a little bit of a disparity there as far as making it equal.
Women play every week.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, if you look at the total numbers over a month, they're pretty equal of players. The men 3 times a month at roughly 240, and then the ladies 56 players times 4. It's
224.
pretty close.
Well, that's interesting.
So I guess the question is, Vinny, the ladies would like another extra tea time, and I've already talked to you about that, and you didn't want to do that. Is that correct?
It's about carts. You got to think about the people after them. If they have 80 single carts, we'd be out of carts for about an hour. Anyone who booked after them, we wouldn't have any golf carts for them.
So is
Right now, after the ladies play, we don't have any extra carts laying around. The people that play after them take them, and we don't have very much room to play with right now.
So is this something we can address post-COVID then?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So, yeah.
There's no problem after this. If we get people to pair up on carts to expand the ladies club, great. But right now, day by day, we're tight on carts, and it's a little stressful, but we make it through every day. So the numbers we're doing right now are pretty good.
all right. Well, thanks for readdressing that.
And actually, just since we're talking about that, could we say the same thing about the men's clubs? Because I know
Absolutely.
obviously we have a lot more demand than there are available tee times for our tournaments. I wasn't able to get into this month's tournament just because I didn't hit redial fast enough at 6 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. The as soon as we can get people to pair up on carts, that makes it a lot easier. I don't know when that's going to be, but the men's club will expand back to
Okay.
where it was when we get back to normal.
Sounds good.
If we agree to pair up on a cart, can we get an automatic tee time for the tournaments?
I'll walk.
Doesn't-
Okay, who's going to communicate that to the women's club? Darlene, do you belong to the women's club?
I'm sorry, again?
You belong to the women's club?
Absolutely do not.
I work on Tuesday, so I can tell them that as soon as we get out of this, they can have a couple more tee times. That's not a problem.
And they're probably listening into this anyway. Okay, great. You pass it on, Vinny. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Vin.
Okay, review of future golf course improvement projects. Do we go back to the list from way back last year? Is that what we want to do that? We've covered most everything, the fee changes and everything, the operating resolution. Can we talk about specific things we would like to do for the golf course now? A new work plan? Is that what we're looking at right now, Samantha?
Does Jordan have a list?
Yeah. So the item in front of you, and I'm actually going to hand it over to Jordan, but for some context, the goal here and moving forward on an annual basis is to allow the golf committee to review what staff's priority projects are, and these are related to capital improvement projects. So the staff report gives a little bit of clarity and verbiage speaking to how projects are approved. One of the things that's happened in recent years is the golf course projects have been folded into our regular CIP process through the whole budget approval process. We are just kicking off our budget season right now, looking at fiscal year 21-22. So this is a really timely document. Jordan has compiled a list that's in the report of what he and his staff and his team feel are top priorities in the coming future. And I will let him speak to each of those, but I also wanted to give the opportunity to the committee to voice additional things that they would like to be addressed or seen. And again, anything discussed here tonight, it's not a guarantee it's going to get approved. It's all going to go through the regular budget review cycle up to the council level. But again, I want to make sure the golf committee has a voice in that, and you guys get to give us your comments and feedback as well. So I'll turn it to Jordan to address any of the specific details on that list.
Yeah, so I think most of it's pretty self-explanatory stuff that we've kind of reviewed. basically just prioritize stuff that is important to the aesthetics, playability, and safety for our clients. And obviously price kind of factors into that too. So there's some that are quite affordable and some that might take some time to get funding for. Exact pricing I don't have, but I kind of have a good ballpark, and some of them I do have a quote on. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions off the
I do.
top.
Yeah, Nick,
T-box,
Yeah.
T-boxes, are we gonna work on leveling the T-boxes?
Yeah, does everybody have this sheet?
I don't
That's
have.
number one at the top.
Yeah,
The
it's
agenda report.
It's page 42 of the PDF document. It's the agenda report. And just, actually, while people are locating that, I would, and maybe this is for later, but it'd be nice if we could get pre-printed copies of these things sent to us. I don't know. Seems like the agenda items are getting longer and longer.
Yeah, it's hard to go up and down on them.
Okay. Anyways, I can go through them one by one. So the first one I have is, resodding and leveling tees with priority on number 1, 16 blue and 12 white tee. As you know, 16 and 12 are really just uneven and they need a lot of work. And number 1, we need to resod with the appropriate grass. And that might be something that we have to do like every 2 years, just with the amount of foot traffic it gets and just wear and people, kind of hanging out, standing up there thinking that it's carpet. So it's first impression stuff. So it is important. And then next I have a driving range fence improvement. Basically just raising the right-hand side of the driving range to kind of protect number 6 fairway. Obviously, there's a lot of slices that goes in the fairway if you've ever played San Clemente. I know myself personally, I'm kind of shaking if I hit a good drive and I'm in the middle of the fairway. So I think that's a good one. And, with drivers improving, golf, a lot of golfers are hitting their balls over the top of the fence and even on a number 2 green.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's something that we need to look at. And while we're at that, maybe just look at replacing the entire netting because it's starting to get holes worn out all over. So, and then next we have the drinking fountain behind number 5 tee, which we talked about in the last meeting. Just doing an upgrade on that, making it more presentable and a little cleaner. And then after that,
Can I make a suggestion on that one?
yeah,
If you're going to work on that fountain behind 5, could you put like a little fountain below so that people don't have to put their dogs up on top of that thing?
yeah, we can do that.
Suggestion.
Because, you look at that and turn around and somebody's got, the dog sitting on top of that thing lapping away at it. It's like, do we really?
Yeah, that's it. That's a good point. Like one of those foot showers you see at the beach.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it might
Wash
be
I think the only concern in having that is that it could present to people that we actually want dogs on the course. And I don't know that that's the ultimate goal.
They're coming
Yeah.
anyway.
I know.
Every day anyway.
stainless holes out and then let them fill it and put it down. That'd be an easy way to take care of it.
We'll look into it. I understand what you guys are saying. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate that our dog walkers do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're entitled. That's what you get. This is we pay taxes. What are you gonna do?
Okay, Jordan, keep going.
So yeah, item 4, we have replacing yardage signs in the driving range. Maybe not so much replacing them, but just re-stabilizing them so they don't blow over in the breeze or whenever they get hit by maybe the range picker or the mower. they're not so flimsy anyways, and maybe even making some more targets out there. I was talking with Vinny about that. That's also an option. The next item we talked about, I think maybe 2 years ago, when Gus was here, about the irrigation software. It is really outdated. I think it's from 1989. And the new software that we're looking at will actually improve our efficiency operating it, and also help save us a little bit of water as well. Just with scheduling, and you're able to, it's more user friendly as far as like putting wet spots on hold as opposed to actually digging up the head and turning it off. So that'll help out just with overall efficiency. Next one, dividers for the driving range stall. Yeah, they're looking pretty worn out. So I think that's an easy way to improve the driving range. And then item 7, relocation of number 1 tee sign. I know a lot of people get confused and they tee off 10 instead of number 1. So where it is now, it's kind of in the bushes. I think that the sign itself is fine. I think we can just maybe move it to where it's viewable from people walking up the stairs, and also from the pro shop, so it's easy to point and direct people. Next one, new permanent tee marker plates. I think that we can improve that. I'm not overly too impressed with the aesthetics of them right now, and a lot of them are starting to get sunk anyway, so we need to start replacing them or building them up. And if we're going to just build them all up, we might as well get new ones. Reconstruction of the chipping green bunker. I don't know if anyone has been over there, but there's a massive hump that's just from people constantly hitting sand, and that edge getting worn away. So I think that's something that we can do in house. We just have to find time and manpower, and just digging away at that, and then sticking away at that hump with the backhoe, and then bringing in sod from somewhere, rolling it over, stapling it in, and putting new sand drainage while we're at it. So
While you're on that, Jordan, I have a comment. Would you consider redoing the whole chipping area, including the green?
Yeah, we could. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the Bermuda grass that's in there. It doesn't look very good. In the wintertime, it goes dormant. Doesn't look good. And maybe address those trees as well, because that's the reason why that challenged area on the right-hand side just will never grow right. Like those eucalyptus trees just suck the life, suck the moisture and the nutrients out of there. So that's definitely something we can look at. Absolutely.
I'd recommend that we amend your proposal to redo the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. Why not? And then next, planting vegetation along the fence on hole 8 and 9. Like starting at 19, going backwards, just to kind of mask the alley a little bit. I think I was talking with Miley, and I think Gus tried that a few years ago, and I think the problem was it just enhanced the privacy for transient people in the alleyway. So that's a problem that could happen in the future if we go ahead with that. So we'll have to kind of look at the logistics of that. And then finally, evaluate reconstruction of the putting green by the pro shop.
Yay.
You're
Number 5, that's probably since I've been on this committee, it's the one item that almost comes up every time we meet. And
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
So I didn't forget about it. It's on there. Yeah. So any questions regarding that?
You talking about raising the west side of that putting green?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other structural things that have to happen for that back end to be raised up so it's level, like subgrade, retaining wall, new landscape. I know we talked about it with Gus, and we had like a USGA agronomist come out in 2017, kind of laid it out for us. It'll be a pretty extensive project. So.
And Gus did not want to do it, if you recall.
No, he's pretty pretty adamant. So I'm open to it, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's not just kind of raising up, taking the sod, peeling sod, putting material and leaving it. There's going to be a lot of extra work to go with that to make sure that it's right and that it doesn't fail on us.
Okay, is that it? Is that your 11 items?
Right now, I probably got 30, but we'll leave it at that for now. That's the glaring ones at the
At least
moment.
the putting green made the list.
So you have them ranked in priority. Are they a number, item number based on priority 2? So in other words, would you do the drinking fountain before the yardage, before irrigation?
Yeah, yeah. You know, with price, you know what I mean. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're hitting on some small things and then get to software, but software could make the best improvements for us. So, you know, to me, we have to look at what's the best value that we're going to get out, not necessarily what the price is going to be.
Yeah, it's also safety too. That's why driving range fence is number one. I mean, re-leveling the tees and sod, like number one looks horrible. Like you step up, that's your first impression. And it's like, oh wow, this is a muni, which isn't the case. I don't think the first tee is a good reflection of what the golf course is. And the white tee on number 12 is almost
Got a big hump
unplayable.
on it. Yeah, it's got a big hump in it.
Yeah, I know it's horrible.
So can we
The
can we
first-
clarify this? Is this going from now on? Is this the projects you want to do now between now and June of 2022? Is that correct? Am I right? Or what are we talking time frame wise?
Just stuff to address, like stuff I'd like to focus on.
But it shows
This,
that
Not
this list
necessarily
could
saying that we're
take,
gonna bang them all out in a year. Like we don't know what.
this list could take 2 to 3 years to accomplish. You know, the putting greens, and Jordan kind of touched on it. Safety is obviously a top priority. And if there's an ability to become a more efficient operating team, then we obviously want to address that if there's also cost savings involved. And there could be in some of these. The goal here is to take this list, to get some rough dollar figures, turn it around to finance, understand where we stand for the fiscal 21-22 budget, acknowledging that Jordan's identified really the top safety concerns that's at the priority. So, and then turn around and see what we can fit in for this coming budget. I do think also though, some of these and the goal here again, if we have a list, it might be something that we can start working with some of the nonprofits in town to help rebuild the putting green, to kind of create a fundraising effort for some of these things, because we certainly can't do it alone. And I know this community goes all in when they're tasked to do that. So having this established list can kind of give us some backing to some extent to say these are priority projects as we look towards the future as well.
Great. Okay, communications. We have no communications. Is that correct, Miley?
No.
Items from staff.
I have no further comments.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I have no further comments.
Okay. Items from staff, second quarter golf course activity report.
Yeah, so just the last 3 months have been pretty productive. We haven't gotten a lot of rain, which has allowed us to do more stuff. Like we've been sanding the greens a lot more, verticutting up until October-ish. It was still quite warm. We're getting a lot of growth, and I think we've had a lot of success with that. Just with the putting greens, the ball rolling out a little nicer. We've also took time to clean out the yard and the shop, just so it's improving the water runoff, because we had so much steel and just open, like, old machines laying about. So we filled up like 2 40-yard bins of old machinery. So we've been focused on that. We're still working on it. But I'm glad, for my mental stake, that I don't have to look at old equipment just lying around like a junkyard. So it feels really good to get that out of there. And we're looking at erecting some new structures to help all of our equipment underneath there and protect it from the elements. We are looking at aeration. We're starting to get prepared for that. So we're going to be doing a little differently this year. We're just going to have one aeration, and that's going to be April 26th and 27th. And that'll be a conventional core aeration. And that time we also had
Gus
Sorry?
always did 2. Why did you? We used to do 2 aerations. Why are we only going to 1 now?
We're going 1 this spring, 1 the fall.
Okay. Will that be enough, you think?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Jordan, I got a question on fairways. The brown spots, is that a result of the mower clipping it? The high spot? Yeah.
Yeah, so we are mowing at 0.4 inches, which is the lowest we've ever gone. I would say in the history of San Clemente on the fairway units. So those little brown patches is scalping, and that's a good thing, because right now we're training the grass to get low. So we're going to keep mowing as long as we can, and then eventually, if you look down, there's little green shoots in that brown area. So that's the new tight kikuya coming up. So when you keep mowing it, scalping, it's kind of training it. And then when it starts warming up, that puffy kikuya, that's what we're mowing right now, is the puff. And then that real tight stuff is coming up underneath. And eventually it's going to get used to being mowed at that low height. And then once the scalping gets out of hand, probably in May, June, we'll start slowly raising it up to about a 1/2 inch. So there is scalping, but it's intentional.
That's a good explanation for the people that ask, because I gave them a hint of that, but not as extensive.
Like you'll notice, like 5 has the most scalping. That's always been notorious for like just being a puff ball. Like just it's almost like you're in the middle of the fairway and you're kind of hitting off your mattress. So
we're getting a little more roll.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Report from golf staff. Vinny, are you there? How you doing? Anything new, Vinny? Other than people bitching about
nothing
starting
new.
times?
What's that?
Other than people bitching about starting times, is there anything new?
No, it's the same thing. There's no kind of clear answer of how to fix that, because we've got a lot of people booking tee times and not enough tee times. And there's no good answer for it. It's just we're booming, and
Should have built that other golf course when we could.
Yeah.
336.
There's the only answer of having another 18 holes. We'd probably fill that up too.
Yep.
Has there been much complaint about the new rates?
A few. You give it a week for them to sink in.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people right now don't even pay attention to their credit card statement. You can tell them, but they don't. It doesn't hit them until they see their credit card bill. But it's still the best rate around.
Yeah, $2, big deal.
Vinny, when
Yeah,
were-
and, you know, we were an extra 5 on the cart, but we were at single rider carts, so we're essentially doubling up on the wear and tear on the golf cart. So
when were you able to implement the new rates into the system? Because I see that it went to them on December the 15th, signed on January the 11th. When did we get new rates into the system?
February 1st.
Ah, perfect. Okay.
I thought you guys did a good job at having signage in the pro shop, letting everybody know about the new rates and what that looked like. So
Yeah, it was up for a month, but still people don't pay attention to it at all.
I get that, but we can't make them
Yeah,
read,
well,
but at least
thank you.
put it up.
At least you saw it. There was on each door and right on the glass in the pro shop. So it's right in front of their face when they come to check in.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vinny.
You're welcome.
Items from committee members. Let's start on the bottom. Darlin, you got anything any comments?
I'm at the bottom of the pile. Wait a minute.
Sorry, am my screen, you're in the bottom.
No, I don't have anything. I've said all my piece today.
Okay, going up to Nick. Do you have anything, Nick?
Well, no, just like to clarify, when post-pandemic, we're going offline. We're not doing the reservations online anymore, right? We're going back to the
We will still continue to take reservations online, but I think there'll be some type of hybrid or combination of efforts. That's
Okay.
the goal.
Yeah, we got the thing about the men's club going, the increase in players. That's a good thing. There was something else and I completely spaced it out. But if I remember before we're done, I'll holler it out.
Rick, do you have anything?
Yeah, Nick, so I got that to look forward to, huh? Memory loss. No, pretty much everything was answered.
Pat Parker?
Yeah, I just want to say, Jordan, I love the new yardage markers in the fairway. But I wasn't sure, does every hole have every marker now? Because it seems like maybe
Not
some have them,
13.
some don't.
No, we're still working on them. For one, they're quite expensive, and second, they take a lot of time to install. You have to dig up those old ones that they have about 70 pounds of concrete on them. They go as deep as like a molar. So prying them out and then filling it in, watering it, packing it, and then you have to put this like stem thing, and then you hammer that in. Like it's a long process to put one in, and it's tough to do in play because they go in the middle of the fairway too. So we are working on them. The plan is to get all of them replaced, and yeah, I like them.
Yeah, no, they look good, and it's caused at least people in my group to stop complaining that the PVC pipes are no longer there.
Yeah.
So and this
Yes,
is
the goal is to have them all in, and then the PVC pipes out.
Yeah, no, it looks clean.
Yeah.
And the other question I had was, I wasn't. Have we started having marshals? Do we have marshals again on the weekends, or what's the status of that?
We're
So
working on that. That got transitioned to the city, and actually Jordan's going to be overseeing that program. We're just going through some finalities and finite details with HR, kind of cleaning the job description and getting the job posted online. Good news is it's already on our salary schedule, so that's a really easy slip in to do. And once we start recruiting, it will be Jordan's project. I know he's going to definitely work closely with the pro shop as well. And we will be hiring course marshals. So if you know somebody, visit the city's website when the time comes.
All right, thanks. That's all I had.
Tim?
Yeah, Samantha, have you heard from the traffic division on the no parking signs on Los Batissimos Drive or Lane?
Close enough.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I've been speaking with our code compliance manager, Adam Matamian, as well as our city planner, Gabriel Perez. So I'm still sorting through the details. There are some agreements with those hotels to utilize those spots. It should be posted, no parking from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., which essentially doesn't allow people to park overnight. But now my next step is to see where we're at with the enforcement of it. So I'm chasing it down. Because I heard the concerns. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about Los Pastimos. I'm talking about the alleyway.
That too.
But that's the alleyway component. And then the Los Pastimos, they recently, that was actually only ever supposed to be a one-way street. So I know what I'm doing, it wasn't ever marked. And again, I'm still trying to dig to the bottom of this as well. And I also realized that they recently marked Avenida Magdalena as no parking, which I think is also impacting golf course parking. So I've got our engineering staff looking at that. We were not made aware of it on our end, but I've flagged it as this is a concern. Now we're potentially limiting our own parking at the golf course. So they're going to look at it. On top of that, we're also going to look at some sidewalk opportunities. I'm noticing that there's a lot of dog walkers and just neighborhood walkers that actually walk along Magdalena and surrounding the golf course. And it's creating some little goat paths, and I'd like to avoid that. So I just sent a bunch of emails to the traffic engineering group this week and kind of gave them all of these things. And they are certainly going to address it and see what they can do. But the Los Pastimos is actually a concern with the street width, and that's why it's actually it's no parking on that area. It gets narrow, and you can kind of see there's some little bulb outs for turnarounds. So I know it's not the best, but I'm working on it.
Even I talked to Rocky Rafkin, which lives there, and he said the neighbors were upset that it got marked as no parking because sometimes they like to park their vehicles. Rocky's got plenty of parking in his driveway, but some of the other neighbors don't. And then even if you were to only, like, there's like a turnaround, and you could have no parking there, so there's plenty of room for vehicles to turn around. But we can get as many parking spaces as possible on that street. And like you said, if it's marked no parking at night, that's fine. We don't need it at night. We just need it at the day, especially when the weddings start ramping up again.
I completely agree with you. And I did bring that up. I mean, obviously when the weddings come in, it's a ton of people, and then there's still golf going on. So I think they weren't totally familiar with maybe all the operations and all of the movement that happens in that area. So we're going to look to correct it, whether that's opening up parking on Magdalena or whatever we can do to get more parking, because it's absolutely a concern.
Anything else, Tim? Tim, do you have anything else?
No, that's all I had.
Okay. I've got a couple of things. We lost a tree on 13, that big pine tree. Jordan,
Good riddance.
the big
Yep.
pine tree on 13.
Yep.
So I guess you're taking the roots out and everything of that, leveling it and all. Are we going to replace a tree there?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna think about it. For one, I did like that tree because it kind of hid the pump house a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even notice it, and now you have this structure that's there beside our nice par 3 hole. But there also is a possibility of kind of an auxiliary tee box on the other side, because that was always a problem for that tee box, is that tree was right there. So yeah, I haven't really decided if we want to do something there. There might be opportunity with that tree gone to kind of spice it up a little bit, or if we need to work on that tee box, we can move everybody to the other side. So yeah, I'm not too sure.
Okay. That brings up another question. I've long-term asked for a tree replacement policy. Is that something we can agendize for the next meeting in 3 months? Does everybody agree to that? So we have some kind of a tree replacement policy. We lose a tree, we put a tree in. Anybody opposed about talking about that in the next meeting?
No.
So if, Samantha, if you, Miley, if you can remember that agenda for the next meeting, tree replacement policy, we'll just discuss. the last thing is I have for you, Jordan, the sand in the areas where we pick up the sand for our buckets in the carts. The sand is really not very fine. It's hard sand. We fill it up and it's hard to get it out, to shake it out.
Because it's wet.
Not finer sand.
I think the issue that it's wet, right? Like if it doesn't come out of the bottle.
It's like clods. It's hard to get it out of the bottles.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to avoid, especially when it rains. We can look at, the only answer would be to put lids on all the sand bins that are outside on the course, because every time we water and when it rains in our sand pile. So even now when we refill it, the sand's kind of wet, and that's what clogs up the bottles. But we haven't done anything with the sand since I've been here.
All right. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, well, kudos to Ryan for him being out there filling up divots all over the place. Can we it's hard to get people to fix their divots and ball marks. I mean, they treat it like I don't know, Short Clips even does better than we do. Is there any way we can get some signs on the carts or whatever, just to get people to fix their hazards?
Well, I think there's a lot of walkers that actually don't carry sand. So how do they fix their divots?
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have any, tubes or whatever for the sand in the carts for a long time. Now we've got them back. We got to get people that used to fill in sand, to fill in divots again, I think.
Reprogram.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the marshaling work order too, is they're going to have a bucket of sand, and while they're going around, they're going to assist filling divots.
Oh, good.
Cool. All
You know,
right.
part of it too is we have a lot of new golfers on the course.
Yeah.
I mean, people who haven't played the game, they're just not familiar with the etiquette. You know, I mean, I've had people take my ball. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know," and it's clearly marked, and
I waited till it stopped rolling.
yeah, you just get, you got to kind of remember that stuff. We have to familiarize a lot of these people with what they should be doing.
Right.
Vinny, is it possible to go back to putting two bottles on each cart that have the bottle holders?
Yeah, we can. We just put one because it's 90% single riders. So.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, but we can take all of our sand containers and put them on as many carts as we can.
But there are golfers like Dick and I and Rick and what have you that we constantly, like, we can empty two out between the next thing of sand. We fill two back up and we empty them out again. I guess what we could do is just go get a second one.
Well, we'll take every sand container we have and put them on the carts.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else? Any other comments? I'll need a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Second by Nick. All's in favor? Aye.
Hi.
All right.
See you all on the course or in 3 months. One or the other. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Miley.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jordan.
Miley.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, Gabe.
Hi, Miley. Oh, where am I here? I got to get out of here.
Right on time.